Hello and welcome along to live match reaction here on the Rangers Rabble. Rangers 2, Hibs 1. Right, just before we get into the game, I'll introduce who's on the pod. Making his long-awaited comeback is Derek. Derek, how are you?
Wonderful, mate, you.
And that lighting is just phenomenal on your face, by the way. You look so happy.
I've got another problem for you.
And joining me in the bad haircut category is Ross. Ross, mate, how you doing?
I'm not bad. How are you, Fat Barcash? You all right?
I'm absolutely spot on. And with no hair joining us today is Kerr. Kerr, how are you?
I'm fine, man. Just bite Fibrooks, I'm fine.
Good. Right, so Rangers 2, Hibs 1. Before we get into the game and all that, Derek, we should also point out that it was Armed Forces Day at Ibrox. I think actually Kerr was the only one of us who was actually at Ibrox today, but
Yep.
I'll take it to you anyway, Derek, because I like to just mix things up. It's always good to pay respects to our soldiers and military, and Rangers did it so well.
Yes, mate. Always good to see them there and see the club recognising the great job they do. It's always a special day, and glad we got the 3 points for them.
100%, absolutely. So a big thank you to everybody involved in the armed forces and everything they do for your country. Into the game then, Ross. Surprise selection today. There was, Tav on the bench, Patterson starts, Scott Wright getting a game. Was that a surprise for you?
Scott Wright getting a game was a surprise. I think he's been dreadful the last few times he's played. So I was quite surprised to see him starting ahead of Roof. But Patterson's obviously been knocking at the door all season. Tav's maybe had a dip in performances last week, so that's the way it should be. That's the way it should be at a team like Rangers, where if you're maybe no at your peak, there should be somebody there waiting to come in and take your place. And to be fair, the boy Patterson's done really well again today.
We'll obviously come into his performance in a bit more detail a wee bit later on. Kerr Davis on the bench again. With being kind of such a big game, let's not kid ourselves, Hibs were on for him. Were you surprised to see him left out?
Slightly, Martin, but with Stephen Davis, he's played that many games for us. In the last short space of time, it's like he can't play every midweek, weekend. He gives you the same energy, he gives you the same performance, but the guy's going to be end up totally shattered coming in the season, and we need him. You seen him bringing on the day when we're near the end to just to calm things down because he's that type of player. But I think he tried to play more attacking team today. I think he went that way, but you have to give Davis a rest. He is still our best midfield player, but you have to give him a rest because he can't do it every game.
I know we need to give him a rest, Eric, but for such a big game, international break coming up, I should say, did he need to be on the bench today?
I don't think he needed to be on the bench, but I can see why. At home to Hibs, you should need him.
Fair enough.
But you shouldn't. I think if the team turns up in the first half, we're not having this conversation. But it came on and done what he does. He brought composure to the game and played some nice stuff. But we shouldn't need him at home to Hibs. But unfortunately, we did today. But I wouldn't look too much in it. It's not a big deal. I actually thought Lundstram had a great game in the second half, which we'll maybe come on to. But I don't think it's a big a deal as I'm playing or not playing. But yeah, he's phenomenal. It's going to be an absolute nightmare trying to replace him. Hopefully, not in the summer.
And I think maybe a few people have changed their opinion on Lundstram. But again, we shall come to that. Right, we are live on YouTube and Twitter. If you're watching on YouTube, please do subscribe as we're getting closer and closer to that 3K mark. Please do give the video a like because and you'll love this, right? I've been doing all this analytical search and stuff, and apparently the more people who like the video, the more it gets shared and it comes up in suggested videos and all that nonsense. So please do give it a like. Ross, on the game itself, in fact, what was your overall thoughts on the game, and then we'll break it down?
Poor. I thought we were really poor again, mate. I just don't know. They spoke about it at half time on RTV, so Kerr will not have seen this, but in the first half, Hibs had 90 passes. We had 250. So that's constant. Many times at the edge of the box as Aribo or Morelos got a shot and we're trying to play we disguised passes through their defence. Just have a shot. See if they've got 10 guys in the box. It could hit somebody in the arse and end up in. Do you know what I mean? I felt as if we were disappointed. I seen somebody in the comments there saying the sending off change the game, and it probably did. If they it stays at 11v11, I don't know if we would have had it in us to break them down.
Do you know what? I think you've probably got a fair point. Although see, when teams do get a man sent off, I don't know, for some reason it gives me the heebie-jeebies even more, because I hate playing against, and heebie-jeebies, what a word. I hate playing against 10 men.
We've seen it ourselves in a Hampton Malmo get man sent off. I mean, see how well we played after that, which wasn't great. When you play against 10 men, 11 men, you still have to be well organised. You still have to go out with a bit of purpose and play the game, and you still have to play with intensity and with a tempo, which we didn't really do, even after he was sent off. Porteous, the second half, we made the change of bringing on Roof. We looked a bit more better there because Roof's more direct. I thought Morelos was coming too deep at times, looking for the ball and trying to play passes he shouldn't really be making, because he's not a type of player. Hadji and Aribo always overplay, especially Aribo, and they weren't great. I thought the only player that was trying to play a direct pass forward was Lundstram. Yeah, sometimes he was giving the ball away, but he was trying to create something. He was going forward, wasn't he, side to side? He was getting the ball, he was going forward. He was also doing a lot of one-touch passing, Lundstram, which I liked. We weren't. The tempos changed with this team. We're very slow, we're very lethargic, and we're not creating as much as last season, but also defensively we're struggling at times.
Now, Derek, you're the kind of tactics guy. In fact, you're probably the only person involved with Aribo who knows anything about tactics, because Ross knows nothing and Kerr knows a wee bit, and I know nothing as well. Was there a slight change of shape today to Rangers, do you think?
Yeah, I think there kind of was. I think they almost banked on Hibs trying to have a go and trying to commit a wee bit further forward with a couple of the midfielders. But, I mean, I didn't really see it as a massive change. I just think, obviously, I've caught the first half as quickly as possible there, but it was kind of slow, and we were just letting them get back into their shape far too easy with that couple of extra passes, and it was more to do with moving the ball on the personnel. Probably why you've seen Kamara come off, because although Kamara is a fantastic football player, he keeps the ball and he's great. He's not really hitting strikers' feet as quickly as possible, and I think that's really what changed and why we won the game when Roof come on. So I think it was more down to the personnel rather than the tactics of where people were on the pitch. But again, I think we thought Hibs would have a go, and we kind of tried to pin them back a little bit more than we usually would, but I didn't see a massive change.
Nah, Gerrard's not known for making massive tactical changes, is he? Right, a couple of the comments. We've got Thomas Donald, a well fought and hard earned win. Michael, relief, all things considered, that was a big win. Big win. CGM, Patterson is better than Tav right now. Sorry, no, he isn't. Curry Muncher, win is a win, but Jesus, that was a grind. Not sure about you guys, but if it wasn't for the red card, I think you mean could there, Curry, not see us getting anything from that game. So, Ross, the overriding emotion from people so far just seems to be relief.
It's looking back on games for last season where we were playing fluent football. We never really had to grind games out much last year. We never looked like conceding, and every time we went up the park we looked dangerous. This is totally flipped on its head this year for me. Every time my team comes forward against us, we look susceptible. And every single time we go forward, it's this ponderous. Sometimes you think you were watching rugby. It's like starts off on the right wing and then it goes to somebody and it goes out left, then it comes centre, goes right. There doesn't seem to be that kind of fluent, everything going forward, one touch, wee interchanges that we seen last season. So for me, it is a relief. The relief is we came back and won the game 2-1. We're still 6 points clear of Celtic, and we've now opened up a wee gap at the top of the table. So it is a relief. But it's just, I don't know, I think it's just one good performance and the team actually clicking towards playing like we did last year. I just want a bag of cans and last year's team back. That's what I want.
I think that's difficult, but in it, it's like last season was such a good season and we were superb. I just can't. We're not going to get that again, unfortunately, Ross. You'll just need to feel sorry for yourself. But I thought the second half was more like us. I thought when Roof come on, he was getting into pockets of space. So we did. We weren't just going side to side, but we were actually playing through the lines, as we'll call it. But I think that there was shades of the old us in the second half for me, and that's ultimately why we got the win. Hibs were dead on their feet, because we were poking and prodding. Again, not as good as last season, but I just don't think we're ever going to get that again. Unfortunately, I think last year was just a freak season where we were immense in every department. Where I do agree with Ross is that even at the last minute when that ball's going up to Connor Goldson, I still feel as if we're losing a goal when it's 2-1.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. That's the difference for me, and that's the worrying thing for me. Going forward, we were good second half, but I still fancied Hibs to get an equaliser, even with 2 minutes to go, and that's where the differences came for me in terms of trusting the defence to see games out.
No, listen, I totally agree. I don't know what's going on with the coaching now when it comes to the defence, or if it's just individual errors. I don't know, because I'm shit scared every time the ball goes forward as well. We made fun of them so much last season for how poor their defending was, and now it seems...
We're not that bad, mate. Come on.
Well, I know, but you know what I'm like. I like a good overreaction. But Kerr, look, Ross said there, look, it might only just take one good performance for the team to click. Is it as simple as that for you? Because I know that you've been critical of the players, the transfers that we've done, the business that we've done. So is it as simple for you as just one decent performance could make us click?
It might be for some of the players. Some of the players, I think, maybe are still in the back of last season trying to find their form again, or maybe their confidence is all. Players like Barisic playing confidence. I thought today with Barisic, for example, he was always coming inside or passing back, but when the time he beat his man and get the ball in the box, we scored with Morelos. So it shows you he gets to the ball, gets to the byline, gets the ball in, and we can score for it. Same when we put the ball in for Roof, and he scored with a header, which I thought was offside where I was sitting, but obviously I couldn't see it on the TV, but I thought it was offside. But that's passing through the middle, passing side to side. Teams know how we play, and I think they've got to realise that teams know how we play, and we have to change it at times. We have to be maybe more direct, and that's why I like Lundstram today. I thought he was trying to play the ball into feet, but when we play the ball into striker's feet, Morelos was coming deeper at times, but Aribo and Hadji always want that extra touch, and against teams that you don't have the extra touch, the time for the extra touch. You have to pass and move, and that's what we've done so well last season. I know we kind of keep getting back to last season, but if they can play the way, even try to play the way they did, or like I said, right, man, just get the players back to their basics, start playing simple football, because there's good players there. It's just get back into maybe we're playing the way they can play, get a bit of confidence in the team, and just keep things simple, because sometimes thinking can make it hard for yourself, so keep it simple. I mean, Derek probably tells his boys that, keep things simple at times, because it's likely to make a mistake, and sometimes I feel that's what we do defensively. Goldson, to me, his mind's not there. I don't know where his mind is. I thought Balogun was superb today. I thought he was really good.
Yeah.
And I thought the throwbacks were fine. Barisic come into a game in the second half. Patterson done well, but Patterson to me is no the same as Tav. I like Tav because Tav drives. Tav doesn't hide. Even when he's playing bad, he's always looking to get forward. He's always looking for the ball. That's what I like about Tav. But a big thing for us this season is Ryan Kent's such an influence player for us, and we miss him really, really badly.
No, yeah, we do. Just to take it back to your point, keeping it simple. See, it's exactly the same. See, when you're hosting a podcast, see, when it comes to asking a question, see if you don't ask it really, really quickly, your mind goes blank and you end up talking absolute drivel. You know what I mean? That's why I'm just absolutely hopeless at this. The first goal, Ross, for Hibs, 8 minutes in, Kerr mentioned Barisic there. Is it Barisic's fault for not closing the ball down, or is it the two centre-halves for not marking Nisbet at all? Probably, obviously, their most dangerous striker. And you have to say it's a half-decent header as well.
Barisic just got to stop the cross. That's his role. But once the cross comes over, we've got Lundstram, Goldson, and I believe Balogun was about there. There's 3 of our players, and you've got Kevin Nisbet, who's 5'10", standing himself to nod it in. So for me, there's blame all over the defence, and that's the problem we've got this year. Like somebody in the comments said that they see that Lundstram's now developing into playing the role Ryan Jack played to cover, but he's learning that position. So see the day when the ball comes over, Lundstram's kind of caught in between midfield and defence. The ball comes over Goldson's head. I just feel, I know I'm harking back to Ryan Jack, but that's the kind of goals we don't lose when Ryan Jack's playing, because he's switched on enough to cover that hole in the back.
I know, do you know, I don't know if Ryan Jack, Derek, is starting to become something of an urban legend or a myth. You know,
Better play longer he's missing.
I know, but I suppose maybe Ross got a point. Look, their top marksman standing in our box unmarked. Barisic hasn't closed the cross down, and it's 8 minutes into the game.
So Ryan Jack doesn't stop that goal for me, because the centre halves now say my boys do the same. Ball watching. They're watching the cross. Barisic should stop the cross, right? Last year Barisic stops that cross, and then we defend the cross. If it comes in, Connor Golson, who's playing right, I think. Yeah, he was playing. Was he playing right? He was playing right. He's got to drop 5 yards, take that step back, and then he's in the space where Kevin Nisbet gets the header. Ryan Jack is another thing that we miss him massively, all over the park. For me, we're far too open, far too easy to play against. But I don't know if he stops that goal. For me, it was ball watching. Poor from Barisic not letting the cross in, and ball watching. And if we can flip the positive, it's like for them, it's a great bit of movement for Nisbet, and it's a good header. I love Kevin Nisbet. I really think he's a smashing player. If he's good enough for us, I'm not sure, but he's a very, very good player. It's a clever movement, peeling off the back of the centre halves into that sort of no man's land space, and a great header. So again, Ryan Jack probably wouldn't have saved that goal, but we miss him terribly for other reasons.
Yeah, we do. I'll just come to some of the comments. Look at CGM. Confidence is funny. There is no real reason we should not be confident. Northern Bingo last year, no home crowd moaning at them when they're overplaying it. I don't really think that's got much. I think the team are absolutely fine with a crowd. CGM again. Borna Barisic didn't help with the goal, but we have 4 players in the box, and he gets a free header. A couple of Cubs are agreeing with Kerr. Never a good thing. We're making too many passes last third with no result. Kerr, how did you feel Rangers' response was to going behind so early?
I felt we actually responded okay, to be fair, but when you're playing a team like Hibs, like Derek said earlier, Rangers probably set out thinking the Hibs are going to hit us in the break, are going to come to us, because when you've got Scott Allen in the team, you know Scott Allen, when we laugh and joke, but Scott Allen can thread the ball through to one of the strikers quite easily. Nisbet can run off defenders, and with Boyle's pace, he's always a threat. So I think you have to be wary of that. So even though we were 1 down, you think to yourself, right, we've still got a goal back in this, but you're always wary with Hibs, because Hibs done a couple of chances we were unlucky with. And every time we put a ball into the box, we did seem scared to go for it. We seemed scared to attack it. I mean, a couple of free kicks went in, and they went right through the defence. Nobody was willing to put their head or put their foot in. And another difference I've seen this season, last season with Al McGregor, he was constantly shouting at his defenders and bollocking them. This season he's not been the same. I'm not saying that's a big difference in the play, but I don't see the same for him either. So the confidence is, I think the players are scared at sometimes to make a mistake, just because we're champions, where we've been, where we've come from, and there's a lot of different things going about this team at the moment, and I think this result could help us. But I thought we come back well, but it was never in my mind that we were going to win the game, because I always thought Hibs were a threat going forward. It was only when they went to 10 men I thought, right, we've got a better chance here. But like I said, even playing against 10 men, you can struggle, because teams can set their stall out well, and you can struggle to break it down.
I know, and like you mentioned there, and Ross, I'll take that to you, Ryan Porteous sent off. I'm seeing the obvious debates online, but I mean, I'm sorry, for me, there's no debate. That's a stonewall red card.
When I seen it live in play, I thought it was just a solid tackle. But I seen a still image, and you see the ball's under his leg. He's came right over the top of it. And by the way, what a spot it is for the referee, who's called that in an instant. It's a clear red card. Because he's over the top of the ball, and see if Aribo doesn't get his leg out the way, he's breaking Aribo's leg, snapping it in two, because he's full force, he's over the top of the ball, and he's got a straight leg. Now, at first I never noticed that, but with the beauty of being able to see replays and see stills, I can say it's a red card. So big credit to Nick Walsh for noticing it in a split second with bodies running about him. Absolutely outstanding refereeing for me.
Thank God he's on the payroll. You know what I mean? That's all I'm going to say. Thank God Nick Walsh is on the payroll.
Brother Nick Walsh.
Brother Nick. there's no argument, Derek. And it seems to, I mean, I don't know. He has been sent off against other teams as well. But there seems to be an added aggression in Porteous when he plays us.
So, right, it's a red card all day. We'll get that out of the way. Nick Walsh is probably about 5-6 yards away. So that's why he's seen that leading leg. And it's a great decision from him. The rest of his refereeing performance maybe not so great, but the way I would sorry, my daughter's sneaking in beside me. I don't think I've got an iPad.
Thought that was Scott Young's dad, man.
At least it's not Scott's dad crawling about like a creep, to be fair. But honestly, Porteous is the reason he's like that, or he's like that because he's still at Hibs because he's like that, Martin, to be honest. That's why no one's took a punt on him. He's reckless, he's an angry man, and he's a liability for me at Hibs. Hibs were well on top, and they should have got a better result today, in my opinion, if they'd have kept 11 men on the park. So that's the reason why he's still at Hibs and not a chance like the rest of them have.
No, he's a horrible player. There's no excuses for him now, because it's not. You know how when commentators and pundits go, he's not that type of guy to make that type of challenge. He is. He simply is.
100%.
And you know, someday he's going to end somebody's career.
He probably will, Martin. I think it'll be sooner rather than later, because he doesn't think, and I know you can be an aggressive centre half, you can be a hard centre half, but I actually think when you're doing it's somebody's career. Do you know what I mean? We all want to go in hard to win the ball, but this boy just doesn't think, and he's got previous against us, but he does it with other teams as well. And Derek's right. If he was, I know he's very highly rated. There'll be a lot of people, but I mean, there's a lot of scouts watch him, but they probably see the same as we all do. He's like, we're not taking a punt him, because he could end up playing being in the stands more week on the pitch, because the boy doesn't think. He could be a really nice guy off the park, but on the park, it turns into this horrible person. He just wants to try and injure somebody.
I know. I just don't get it. And look, Ross, even though they went down to 10 men, there was a small part of me that was thinking, if we don't get a goal before half time, it's going to be a horribly long second half.
You've always got that worry, and especially after the last game in Europe, when they got a boy sent off and then came out right away and scored 2 goals in 5 minutes, playing against 10. So you've always got that in your mind. Plus, at that point, you're expecting them to shut up shop totally, go 2 banks of 5, which they never done, to be fair. But once they went down to 10, you've got to then. I seen somebody on Twitter writing, see then, when they're down to 10 men, you don't need Kamara and Lundstram. You need somebody on who's going to go in behind and run. Whereas I thought we kept they 2 on together a bit longer than we should have. But at the end of the day, Gerrard will say he's got 3 points. We came back and won the game, so everything they done was bang on. But for me, sorry, Derek. Sorry, mate. I was done. No, I was done, mate. I was done.
I thought you sounded done. Criticised Gerrard a million times on here and elsewhere for his substitutions, but he was spot on today. Oh, you can't say he wasn't. He brought maybe 5-10 minutes late, as Ross is saying. I 100% agree with that, but he got it right. We've got the 3 points. We're 1-0 down. We're 2-1. For me, we were dominant in the second half, apart from a few kind of hairy moments, and we won the game. 3 points up the road. We move on to we're still top of the league. Hibs are a decent outfit, by the way. I think we've not mentioned that. They're a decent outfit. I think Hibs could finish second this year. I think they could. I think Hearts will fall away. I don't think they've got the right squad for it, but I think Hibs could finish second this year, 100%.
Yeah, but Hibs second, Hearts third, them fourth. Right, so obviously you've discussed it. Look, Kamara came off and Roof came on, and for me, like I say, I'm no master tactician or an avid fucking knower of everything football, but Roof is just such a important player for us. I think he's a special player.
Yeah, he's a really good football player, and I don't really get the criticism he gets, because you can see what he's trying to do. When he's through the middle, he's a fantastic player. He can jump. I mean, you've seen his goals, a great header. I mean, he's good on the ground. He can beat players. He can lay things off. He offers us so much, but he gets a lot of criticism, and it's just probably his injuries that's held him back. But when he's on the park, it's another player that Hibs have to look at. And I think, right, we've got Morelos and we've got Roof, and it's quite difficult to defend against, because they had to change their back four as well. And they brought in McGregor, who we all know that McGregor's decent, but that's a bit. He wasn't one player of the year, but that was no leagues. But he's decent, but no more. But so Roof, no, it was a great substitution with Gerrard, and I think he had to do it at that time. He couldn't leave it any later like he usually does, because we needed to get a goal back. And the longer the game went on without a goal, that's when you start to panic, and then you start playing the long balls that we're not going to challenge for. So it was a great substitution, and Roof done really well, and I'm glad for him, because the effort he puts into games, I'm just glad he scored.
Aye, phenomenal. And that goal, Ross, make it one each, which we spoke about. Him starting Patterson over Tav. And look, Tav's more than capable of putting in a cross like that. We know that. Yep. But young Patterson coming on, he's got a point to prove. Fantastic cross for Roof.
On a plate, aye. It was on a plate. I've not actually seen it back. I thought the same as Kerr. I was just waiting on the linesman's flag, because it looked as if he couldn't have possibly been onside, because he was in that much space. But it's what you guys are saying. His movement's so cute and so clever, and he's got that low centre of gravity that he can spin on a dime, and he's away in. A brilliant player. I just wonder if maybe I know Morelos has scored today, but it just doesn't look on form to me. Whether Roof playing through the middle would be an option. We could maybe try and let Morelos kind of see out his bad form on the side, even though he scored today. Thought he was poor again.
See, it's a weird one for me, Derek, right? Because I actually thought that Morelos played okay. I thought his link-up play is getting so much better. He's always coming and asking for the balls, nice passing, and he got a goal.
I think we're seeing an evolution of a player, mate. I think we're seeing a different Morelos to what he was 2 years ago. He doesn't really grab the headlines as much. He's not as showy. He doesn't get every goal that he had to when we were poor, let's be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Better players round about him that can pick up that slack. So I was happy with his performance today, and again, scores a winner. Again, he's not maybe as sharp as he has been previous years. I understand that. Copa America, etc. There's loads of reasons for it, but I still think we're getting a tune out of him. And then for me, still our best number 9 by a bit of a distance. Roof, for me, we're our best when we're playing Morelos through the middle and Roof and Kent behind them. Because Roof gets into positions that no one knows who to mark him. He drops into that sort of half space between the centre half and his centre mid, and he just causes all sorts of confusion. And he also creates space for Kent and Morelos, etc. in behind. And that's where you see Hadji going into these spaces as well when Roof's on, because he just clears pathways for people and gets them on the ball. Roof for me is fantastic. If he doesn't have that injury at Anderlecht, he's probably not playing for us.
No, he isn't.
Moving back to the Premiership for a bit of money, in my opinion. So I think we'll look back in 4 or 5 years' time and glad we had him when we did, because he's a quality football player. He got 20 last season. He'll get 20 again this season for £3.5 million we paid for him.
Yeah,
we can't argue.
The big thing, like you say, is just keep him fit, make sure he stays fit. That's it. Northern Bingo. Good point, Derek. How come nobody ever puts in good point, Martin? No, not once. In fact, I think I might have seen it once.
Because you need to put in a good point to get it, mate.
Exactly.
That's actually quite a good point.
You've got less good points in Celtic this year.
Half change when we took off Kamara. Curry Muncher again. Love Kamara, but he needs to learn how to shoot or at least have a go when he gets space outside the box. I don't know.
He's not that type of player, mate.
That's not his game.
He breaks up the play, he keeps the ball moving, he controls the ball. For me, Kamara's just never going to be that player. You can't ask him to do it. He's not that kind of player. That's why we need the quality of him, so that you can move the ball on to Hadjis and Aribos, and that's who score the goals for you. Everyone's got a job in the team, and Kamara's to score goals is not it.
Aye. I am Neo. Roof looks right up for it this season. Hopefully he can stay injury free, and that's probably one of the biggest points we've made today as well. Right, so the winning goal care, Borna Barisic, who, if I'm being brutally honest, I wasn't that happy with his performance today. I thought he looked out of sorts. And then he puts in, a world-class Borna Barisic cross, header from Morelos, which maybe the goalkeeper should do a wee bit better with.
I thought, man, I was shouting at Barisic most of the game just to take somebody on. Because when he takes somebody, he done it. He can do it. We all know he can do it. And when he takes somebody, just take that touch by somebody and whip the ball in, because he can do that. And he done it today. Morelos got an end it, and where I was sitting, I don't know if the keeper can save it or not. I'm looking at the best eyesight, the best of the times, but where I was sitting, I was just seeing it hitting the back of the net, and I was too busy jumping about. But first time he's beat a man today, we get a ball and we scored. Do you know what I mean? It's not rocket science. Do what you're good at. See, I just keep cutting back away or cutting back inside, because that's what he was doing. But he gets by somebody, gets a ball into the box, and Morelos says, yeah, doing what he does his best as well, and puts it in the net. And that's what we should do more of. I stop with this 3, 4, 5 touches in a game, because sometimes we don't get that time, and just get back to basics and do what we're good at.
Aye, I totally agree. Ross, your thoughts on Barisic today?
Well, I think he looks weak sometimes in the tackle. Sometimes he shucks away a bit much for me. But going forward, he's always going to create chances. I think the day could have had a couple of assist balls he's put across. And what we're talking about, Morelos has dropped back and nobody's going ahead. Nobody's advancing. And I think that's the problem, what Derek's saying there. We're having Kamara, Lundstram, both sitting. The two of them want to do that job. We've not got a midfielder who'll take a shot for 30 yards and it might ricochet and end up at the feet of Morelos or Roof. I feel as if the 3 centre mids we play are all dead samey. Do you know what I mean? They all want to recycle the ball. They all want to break up play. really, do we need that in the SPFL? Against Hibs today, fair play to them, but as soon as they go to 10, somebody's got to move. For me, I feel as if that could be the issue this year. I thought Lundstram was going to be the player that would come in and break forward and maybe give us some goals. But even last year, the amount of goals we score for midfield between Jack, Davis and Kamara last year, must probably lucky if they get 10 goals between them. So I think that's something that we badly miss, is a goal scoring midfielder. And with Gerrard being the manager, you would think he would have an eye for how many times did he dig Liverpool at a hole with a 30, 40 yarder, do you know what I mean?
I know, and we spoke to Nick from the Sheffield United Way podcast, and the one thing he says to me was, you do not want Lundstram breaking forward and shooting. And Derek, by God, let's actually talk about Lundstram, right? Right away, he was written off by, well, I don't want to say all the support, but a good chunk of the support he was written off. Do you think he's starting to change people's minds?
Yeah, I mean, I hope so, because I think his performances the last few games have been excellent. He's went from playing a team that's never get the ball to a team that's always get the ball. That's going to take a lot of adapting and changing in how he plays. He also needs to win every game, not just keep the score down, if we're being honest. Do you know what I mean? So that's a big change for him. Changing where he lives, as well. So usually British players don't get the kind of time that foreign players do, because, they're just moving up the road and blah, blah, blah. But you don't know what's going on, you know what I mean? So I think that now we're into October now, we're starting to see the John Lundstram making, a positive impact in the team. And I hope that continues, because he's a good player. He's got all the attributes. He's fast, he's athletic, he can tackle, he can keep the ball simply. Again, we don't need him to go and skin people and put it in the top corner. We've got other boys. Ross is saying that we do need a player. I just don't think John Lundstram is that. And the reason why Gerrard can't buy one is they cost 10, 15 million.
Yeah.
If not more. I mean, who I'm thinking about a number 8 that can go and bang goals in, and I can't even think of one that's in our price range. Do you know what I mean? Never mind. I know that we've got a full scouting department for that, I totally understand, but there's no one jumps out to me that we could afford who could go box to box and bang them in. You know what I mean? You're talking 30, 40 million for these guys. So I think a wee bit more time is needed with Lundstram, and our support are just terrible at times for writing people off straight away. Yeah. It really frustrates me. At least give the guy at Christmas before you start booing him or something. But I think he'll kick on from now. I think he's gaining confidence in his performances, and I think he'll be a big player for us going forward. Fingers crossed.
I listen, 100% agree. Kerr, what's his best position for you then? Is it that Davis role?
That's really, I don't know if he played. Did he not play for our forward with Sheffield United? I wasn't really watching.
I think he played on the right side of free.
He was kind of like a breaker up a play, kind of press off on the right hand side.
Yeah, I think when he's playing the last couple of games, I think he's been fine. I mean, he's been breaking up play. I like it when he gets the ball and just does a one-touch passing, because he tries to keep it moving, and he always looks to go forward as well instead of going sideways at times. And I think, like the guys were saying, he's physical, he's athletic, and he's a big boy. Do you know what I mean? And he does try a shot, to be fair to him. Granted, most time are off target, but he does try to have a dig. Which, to be fair, that's what people are shouting, shoot. So he tries it, but might not hit the target. But he's trying. But I think if we give the boy time, because he's still learning his ways in Scottish football. It's a different game altogether for the English Premiership, the English Championship. Plus, like Derek said, he's moved up with family and stuff. I know it's only for Sheffield, but it's still a bit of adjustment and stuff. So I think once he settles in, he'll offer us a bit of difference in the middle of the park. Someday we'll need fresher legs as well, and it gives maybe Stephen Davis more time to recover for games.
Yep. I mean, last season, Davis at all when Jack was injured, you couldn't give him a rest at all.
Yeah.
We're playing a team that's, we're second in the league before this weekend, I'm sure. Or third, sorry. So you can then put Lundstram in there, and we've still won. Now, it's been fantastic, but we've still won. We did need Davis to come on and control it, but we've still rested Davis against the third place team in the league.
Yeah.
Won. You know what I mean? You couldn't do that last season. Davis had the game, so it's probably a big compliment for Steven Gerrard that he's even doing that. At home to Hibs in a must-win game, get into the international break. If we lose this one, we go to 3 points. It's a murder 2 weeks. So he's trusted Lundstram, and for me, he delivered today. What age is Lundstram? What age is he?
26 or something. 26 or something like
that. You know what I mean? He's still young-ish in the game, so he's still got room to grow and improve. I think he'll be a smart player for us. I just feel good about him. He's got all the attributes.
Well, I mean, technically another year, Ross, now with him coming into his prime, a year or two.
I think, as I said earlier on, and Derek kind of alluded to it, he's learning to play a whole different style of football. he's just clinging on, and there's times when he'll just be get the ball 70 yards up the park into a channel and hope somebody chases it. To he's got the ball, he can take 5-6 touches, and I think that's what Kerr's talking about. Like, he's used to playing for a team where he's getting battered every week, so he's got to play the ball quick and hope somebody will come. Whereas with us, he's going to have to learn how to keep possession, how to turn the ball. Plus, also the way we play is very fast-paced. I can't imagine Sheffield were playing with the same sort of effort and quickness and movement and interchanging that we were playing, because they weren't ever attacking.
No, true. Just a couple of comments. JM, if Borna puts one cross like that in every game, that is good for me. Thomas, I think Lundstram can be that player when he's more confident in a Rangers jersey. I think talking about playing in that Davis role. Curry Muncher, he was written off as he was playing pish, tends to happen. He has improved, but still needs a little bit more. That's a wee bit harsh, Curry. That's a tiny bit harsh. Derek, Leon Balogun, again, well, I think he's been our best centre half this season. Well, especially obviously with Hollander going out injured.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I mean, he's no Philip Hollander, but who is? You know what I mean? And Golson's obviously been off form. I thought he was excellent today. I thought he was driving the team forward in that second half. He was taking the ball and going over the halfway line, which was needed because it was dragging a striker and then a midfielder out of position and was creating more space for our forward players. So, I'm very impressed with him today. And to be fair, he has been good all season. Probably kicked him on the Celtic game when he played out of position when no one thought he was going to. And he was a stormer, you know, so he's really feeling the confidence. This guy's a good player, international football player. I'm not surprised, but again, he's no Philip Hollander, but nobody is.
Just finally on the players' care, Bacuna, right now, I hope I don't jinx this here, right? And he's not had much game time. He's only had 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there. He looks a real player for me.
Very neat and tidy, isn't he? He holds it, good control of the ball, and he looks like he can play the way across the front and middle three, so he can even play further forward or something, I imagine. But he's just one of these players we're going to have to wait to see what he can offer, because you need to give him games, and it's getting games in the Rangers, because Steven Gerrard's used to picking these usual culprits in the middle of the park. Sometimes he maybe changed it more this season than he has over the last couple of seasons, but he looks decent to me. He maybe needs more game time just to see what he's all about, but he looks neat and tidy in the ball. He doesn't really give it away that much. And I thought the other night he was actually okay in Europe to he come off. He wasn't. I'm not saying he was setting the head on fire, but he looked comfortable out there. So we just have to wait to see what he's all about.
What's your thoughts, Ross, on Bacuna? I mean, it just, for me, he just looks at somebody who will play that 40, 50-yard pass right to somebody's feet. He looks confident, good on the ball. Just looks all round a good buy.
The pass he played midweek for the centre of the park, a kind of reverse right down the wing to Tav, it was Scott Allen-esque. That's how good that was. It was nearly as good as Scott Allen, just not quite. But it looks as if he's going to be a good player. Every day that you've kind of heard speaking about him for his previous club and the obligatory YouTube montage, he looks as if he's got that wee spark in him. It'll just be a case of getting him up to speed. And again, he's playing for a team now where you've got 3 guys ahead of you that are all running and interchanging. So it'll become, we obviously train, Derek will know better than me being a coach, but we must train patterns of play so that becomes second nature, that he's going to go there, and you can fire the ball through the middle. So that's all worked on. So that's something that it'll take him a bit of time to pick up speed on who's going to be where and when they're going to be there. But going back to the Balogun, there was a point today where Martin Boyle faced him up one-on-one right in the middle of the park.
Yeah.
Balogun's got the space, the speed to be able to go there and meet him, and ended up winning the tackle. Yeah. I don't think Hollander, Golson, Simpson, I don't think any of them stopped that. Yeah. Boyle's clear through on goal. So he's done really good, really impressive. As Del said, he's come in for the Celtic game when nobody expected him, and it's as if he's took a lot of confidence for that. And now that he's playing in his own position, as you say, getting forward, even getting up the park, he's been a ray of sunshine on what has been a dark season so far for our defence.
That's very true. Well, just quickly, Stephen Ferguson, he's a £12 million player. Lundstram in England probably a bit more. That's true. To be fair, Balogun hasn't had much competition for best centre half this season. Cubby Cubstock, Lundstram is a brick wall. And I've lost it. Where is it? There we go. 150 years unparalleled success. Bacuna is a baller. Derek, what's Bacuna's position for you in that midfield?
I've not seen him enough, mate, to really put my hat on that one. But I would say that I don't want to say a luxury player. I'm not saying he's a luxury player. He does work hard, but I think you would need almost like Lundstram and Kamara in that middle three to see the best of Bacuna. Somebody to do the graph for him, somebody to give him the ball and go and find feet and make that happen. So I think it's a low risk signing for me. You know what I mean? If he makes it, he doesn't. If he makes it, brilliant. If he doesn't, he doesn't. I think Gerrard's probably brought him in case we lost a couple of players for me. And then we'd have that squad being bolstered with that extra numbers. Midfield was really short at times last season when we got a couple of injuries, so it was good to have that extra body in. Again, I've not seen enough of him to be convinced or to be put off, but he definitely has the skills, and he kind of like the way he plays, you know what I mean, the way he controls the ball, moves it on. And I was just going to, because I've not been on here for ages since you've not let me on, Martin. Boss just made a point about the patterns of play and training. A massive reason why we're not as fluid as we were last season is we've had 15 or 16 players out for sustained periods of time due to COVID, due to illness or suspension. To injuries. See, to try and get the patterns of play, you need everybody training Monday to Friday.
Yep.
We've not had that since the start of the season. And we've also not had it in pre-season because we players at Euros, players away, and obviously we didn't have them all in like we did the previous season. So that's why we looked more fluid and everyone knew where to go. You give it to number 9, you know exactly where the number 6 is to go after it. And missing players in training when you're bringing up youth boys and try to fill numbers, you can't work on these things. So therefore, it goes out your play. It doesn't become second nature, and that's why we look a bit slow. So I just wanted to get that in since you've not let me on for a while.
It's because you don't answer your phone.
I've got you blocked, mate, to be honest.
Martin, did you hear Derek saying I made a good point there about partners?
I did hear Derek saying you made a good point. Listen, I'm going to come to what you think, and I promise we won't be too much longer, but what you think about Rangers now going into this international break. But just before I do, obviously it is the international break, so we'll probably just be doing one podcast next week. There'll be no match reactions. But if you fancy joining us on Patreon, link is in the description. Patreon.com/Rangers Rabble. Next week we'll have our best of the rest for the EPL show. We've got a special show on your favourite shirts, and that'll be video only, obviously on Patreon, so it won't be downloaded onto your podcast app. And we'll have plenty of content on Patreon to cover the international break. So if you want to help support us, please do that. Link is in the description. Patreon.com/Rangers Rabble. Now, there was a point made, and I want to take this to all three of you, from Alan. Kerr, I'll start with you. Go into the break, top of the league, and 6 points ahead of them. That was all this was about today, was it not?
It was. We couldn't afford to get beat because we've not been playing too great, and I think Gerrard, the way he celebrated after it, I keep getting told, it's not so much frustration, it's more relief that we get the 3 points, especially when 1-0 down and then try to come back after a few results. But getting 6 points ahead, maybe get a wee break, get the players back fit like Ryan Kent and stuff, back to training if they can, and then go again when it starts up. I mean, Derek knows to make points about obviously a lot of players missing training and missing stuff. Maybe that's how not being as fluid, and that is, I mean, sometimes you forget to look at that side of the game. You're just more focused on the way we played instead of looking behind the scenes. But that's good. It's good. That's been for somebody we've not hit full speed yet. We can play, and we're 6 points ahead. I mean, that's October, so hopefully come after that. We can't really at times play much worse than some of the games we've played, especially in Europe. But if we can come back more G'd up, maybe get a wee bit more confidence in the team, but just get the boys back playing the way they know they can play, because I think that if you keep winning games, you get confidence. Derek knows that. Morale, you can beat morale and beat confidence when you win games. So if we can do that, then we can get back to where Rangers should be.
And that's actually a point, Ross. A good point, sorry, that Kerr makes. See, even I'm doing it now. Ross, Gerrard's celebration at the end of the game. Were you a wee bit surprised by how over-exuberant he was? Or does that kind of just show that he might be feeling the pressure a wee bit? Or was he just happy that we won?
For me, it was a public show of thanks for the support. We need to do better. We've ground that out. For me, it looked like a sort of going round the fans and geeing everybody up and going into the international break with the with the last image of us celebrating being top of the league. I know I see people in the comments saying should be 11 points ahead of them. We were never going to have another unbeaten season. But what we said for probably the middle of last year is the only team that will stop Rangers winning leagues at the moment is Rangers through our poor performances. We've got the best squad. We've got the best starting 11. We've now beat Celtic and Hibs, who were the two teams that were quicked as being second and third best.
Mm-hmm.
If Rangers play well, Rangers will win this league and win this league comfortably. But if we're not playing well, then we're the only team that can cost us figuring on to win 56, 57. Because at the end of this year, you win this, you're 40 million in the kitty for Champions League football next season. This season's really, really, really pivotal, and we could put ourselves in the position at the end of this season that Celtic were in 9-10 years ago when we get put to the bottom and there was such a large budget between the two sides. So for me, it's imperative that this season we win the league, and the only team that's going to stop us winning the league is us through our own poor performances or lacklustre performances.
I know nobody's saying we would have another unbeaten season, but we should beat Dundee United and Motherwell. Well, if you're not going to have another unbeaten season, then you're going to get beat off of a Motherwell or a Dundee United at some point. Curryman just taking the piss. Ross made a great point. Well done, Ross. Congratulations, you made a good point. There was a point I wanted to take to you, Derek. Falsey. I was a bit embarrassed that Gerrard at full time, we are at home to 10 men and he's jumping about at the end. I think he must be feeling a bit of pressure. Just before you come in, CGM, I love Gerrard at the end, and Thomas H. think the gaffer was just trying to lift spirits before the break.
So get absolutely in the bin with that first comment. Gerrard busts his arse Monday to Friday to get out of the weekend. I don't give a fuck if it's Livingston at home or Celtic away. The 3 points are 3 points. We're now playing 9 games. We've won 7 of them. We've drew 1. We've lost 1. Mm-hmm. For me, the quarter season is where you look to where you're going to finish. If we go 9-1-1, Celtic have got 2 hard away games coming up. They were absolutely shite again today, and they've scraped it through. Fair play to them. For me, if we go win our next 2, we'll be at least 9 points ahead, in my opinion. What more are you wanting? Played 11 games and we potentially talking about being 9 points ahead of our closest rivals. What more are the support wanting? For me, I want Rangers to win the league. I don't give a toss if it's by 1 point or 10, 15, 20 points. That's a process we're going through this season. Last year was a freak. It was a performance from every single player. We were never going to emulate that season. But put it this way, we're only 2 games away from emulating it so far. I mean, what more do people want? We were never going to go undefeated. We were never going to win every game. And Gerrard deserves that at the end for me because, again, Golson's missing during the week. We've got beat during the week. We're 1-0 down. He's changed a couple of things that's worked for him. It's every right to go out on that pitch and celebrate and get the adulation of the fans because he deserves it, in my opinion. I don't care. He could do that every game and he still deserves it for what he's done for our club. So get him absolutely in the bin with that comment.
It's not quite down the Ronnie Road after beating East Kilbride, know what I mean?
We're 6 points ahead going into an international break. See if that's 3, we're stewing up that for 2 weeks. And what Twitter, etc., can be like after we've lost a game, never mind over an international break. It was a big game against your nearest, closest rivals in the league, along with Hearts, and we've won. You know what I mean? That's it. He deserves it.
No, listen, absolutely does. And look, Cubby Cubster will finish on this. If we needed to see any passion from the Rangers manager today, the reaction from Gerrard after the game was superb. Good substitutions, 3 points today were crucial. Absolutely. Listen, guys, we'll leave it on that. We've got 62 subscribers away from 3,000. So if you are watching, please do hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. My thanks to Kerr and Ross, and now completely in the dark, Derek. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
My lecky's run out. I need to go and put a power killed.
50 pence a metre.
I was a bit worried that was Scott Young's dad keeping a bit behind you earlier on. You were just going to get into the abyss.
I know. It's not quite that bad. Good
well, listen, thank you to everybody watching. We will be back next week. I will put an announcement out on Twitter, and for everybody who's subscribed on YouTube, I'll put it on the community as well, exactly what day we will be back as it is an international break. Head over to patreon.com/Rangers Rabble for loads and loads more content. But until the next time we speak, thank you for watching and have a fantastic Sunday.